So, today we're diving into the memoir, The Future Ahead, and it's a story that really starts with an impossible choice. It's this incredible journey of survival that stretches all the way from a war-torn village in South Sudan to a new life in America. And believe it or not, it all hinges on one single life-altering decision.
At the very heart of this entire story is this one pivotal moment. It's a choice that was made out of love, right in the face of just unimaginable horror, and it set in motion a journey into the complete unknown. The author actually puts it this way: it was like having a blind date with his own life.
And this quote, wow, it just captures that decision perfectly. Can you imagine? A father, facing the near certainty of death, makes the absolutely heartbreaking choice to send his sons away. This single act of love becomes the emotional anchor for the rest of the author's entire life.
So let's start right there, with that single choice that was somehow both an end and a beginning. It was a choice that was born from the absolute raw desperation of war.
By 1985, you have to picture it, the author's world had completely collapsed. Homes and food were destroyed, and death felt way more likely than life. He said the survival rate was near zero, so the only hope was to flee, and his father sent him and his older brother away, knowing they would likely never see each other again.
Now, to really understand the sheer weight of that decision, we first have to see the world that was lost. The contrast between the peace of his childhood and the sudden brutality of war is, well, it's just staggering. He shares this really beautiful, simple memory, just sitting with his brother, watching these colorful birds fly in perfect formation, making little toys out of the soil. It was a life of peace and normalcy as part of the Dinka tribe.
And then this. In an instant, that peace is just shattered. The world becomes a place where the only question isn't if you will die, but when. The fear, he says, had reached the highest possible level. I mean, what a jarring and terrifying shift from watching birds to just waiting for death.
And this context is so crucial. This wasn't just some random war. It was fueled by really deep division. You had the North, with its Arabic roots and control over all the resources, versus the South, with its African origins and a long history of being systematically underdeveloped. This deep-seated inequality basically became the tinder for a devastating civil war.
So that decision led to the next massive chapter of his life, the journey. And this wasn't, a short trip to safety. This was a decades-long struggle for survival and for identity.
The sheer length of this journey is just mind-boggling. 19 years. Just think about that. It starts with his escape in 1985, continues through years and years of struggle in North Sudan, and only ends when he finally arrives in the United States in 2004. That's nearly 2 decades of just total uncertainty.
And you'd think escaping the immediate fighting would bring some relief, but not really. The capital city, Khartoum, offered no real refuge. With no jobs or housing, many displaced people just lived in open areas. The author calls it a place of slow death, where the struggle for food was a constant daily battle.
Yet even in all this darkness, there were these flickers of light. He calls them his heroes, people who just appeared on his path and completely changed everything. Individuals like Abraham Gama, who got him into his very first school, and organizations like the Mayo Catholic Church, which funded his entire education. These weren't just simple acts of kindness, they were absolute lifelines.
So this incredible physical journey was matched by an equally profound journey on the inside. Arriving in America wasn't the end of the story at all. It was really the start of learning a whole new set of lessons about the world and, his place in it.
And one of the most powerful lessons he learned was his own personal definition of blackness. For him, it became so much more than skin color. It was this lived experience of perception and bias that he found reflected in daily interactions, what he calls a dark image from the past that seemed to follow him all the way from Sudan to America. And of course, in the middle of all this suffering, he grappled with these immense spiritual questions. I mean, when your world is destroyed, when you've lost your family and face death daily, it's only natural to ask, where was God in all of this? The book doesn't pretend to have easy answers, but it courageously poses these raw, honest questions.
But in the face of all this, he found his tool for rebuilding: education. Despite every single obstacle you can imagine, his pursuit was just relentless. He earned an associate's degree, then a bachelor's from Purdue, and a master's from DePaul. It's just a true testament to his unbreakable will.
And all of this culminates in the ultimate lesson of his journey, a really powerful message about defining your own purpose, no matter what you have endured. He actually distills his life lessons into this amazing framework for living with purpose. It's all about constant learning, correcting your mistakes, and seeking education for true growth, not just a paycheck. It's about seeing life as a daily test and, most importantly, giving back to society however you can. And we'll end on this final, really provocative thought. No one else can give you the life you want. You have to define it for yourself. After a journey through war and loss and unbelievable hardship, the ultimate discovery is that true freedom really comes from within. And that is a powerful message of self-determination that leaves all of us with something to think about.